I don't know what we're going on with that one. It's becoming quite apparent that I don't know everything. There's a lot of I don't know how to deal with that. I'll deal with it later. Oh, I don't know how to deal with that. I'll deal with it later. And it's just like the walls are literally growing in on me, but also like I'm playing this weird chess game right now where like the territory isn't defined. Worse than that is there are rules. There is a game board. It might be 5D or something. And there's rules. Most of the rules they don't tell you. And the rules that they do tell you only apply to you. They can do what they want, but if you break those rules, then they can get you in trouble. But they don't have to play by those rules. So, a whole bunch of us doing our best, and I don't know if I was raised right. Like I'm pretty sure there was some opportunity for a bit of a better understanding, like habit development of a personality of hard work. I don't know how to do hard work. Sometimes I get impassioned and focused, and I stay on something. And then they put me on ADD meds, and now I'm all over the place. I watch too much Sesame Street. Now I'm all over the place. I'm like, it's letters, it's numbers, it's meeting on the street, and it's just like so chaotic. I'm pretty sure Sesame Street gave me ADD. I think the rate of ADD in Sesame Street seems correlated. Because the TV is a program, right? So I'm doing a different type of, like, we're not jumping around. There's not like this new spot every 8 seconds. It's not super polished. It's not super scripted. So it's very, very much not like regular cable TV. And so it doesn't have the same viewership. There's neuro-linguistic programming. Like there's ways that we use rhetoric, and I think personality is part of it. Eloquence to buy in, and then there's the snap stuff. Like they did it with Sesame Street, and they've compounded that out, and now football. Commercials are only 30 seconds. But this is 3 minutes. I don't know fuck all. I do know that I have a daughter, and she's mine in a way that's not like I have a pair of gloves, because these gloves were created, and then I said I'd like those, and then I took them. And no one is saying you can't, they're mine, you have to give them back. That's why they're mine. They're mine because I wanted them and took them. And no one else says I want them. My daughter is mine in that this knife wouldn't have been created except for me. I mean, the wood would have been grown and was already dried when I got it. So it's not really mine. The wood was lent to me, was given to me. The brass was produced for me. The blade on the inside was already made. I just put some things together. A daughter is not like that. A daughter, she's me as a baby me. She's a small version of me. She's me. So if you take my truck, you take my car, you take my house, you take my gloves, I mean, it makes you a shitty person. You don't go around picking people's trucks up from parking spots because you got, like, I went to the guy and said, I'm pretty sure there's a child abduction. I've been trying to deal with it for 6 years. I went through all of the proper channels and all of the proper recourses. It's apparent that this is a scam, and this is absolutely child abduction by the criminal code. And he just rolls his eyes. Oh, that's the first I'm hearing of it. I sent the email. Oh, did you know I blocked your email address? Like, he's not trying to solve the child abduction. You got to go through family court. Family court is civil. we're going to criminal, because this is not about Drew versus Serena. Serena and Drew got together with all of her friends and made a plan and looked each other in the eye and swore to love each other as best we could, which we both suck at, but as best we could for the rest of our lives, for the rest of the soul's life at least. Right? Like I have to care for this woman. So because my daughter is also her. Like, this girl was not a thing. She was just eggs in a basket and swimmers in a nutsack. She was not a human. She was not of this world. She couldn't be. You can't have Isolde without, for me, I am the creator of her. And you took her with bullshit and planning. You thought it through. You conspired with your friends. You said shit, proved nothing, and broke the fucking law over and over and over again. And I keep talking about it, and the cops are rolling their eyes at me, and then after arresting me for saying, where's my daughter, in a public space? It's a public space, there's a bunch of people around, it's a community gathering. Has anybody seen Isolde? I'm her father, recognized as her father. If I say anybody's seen Isolde and I'm in a gathering, that's not breaking the law. That's looking for my abducted child. He arrested me for that. And then while I was in my underwear in a cold cell being fed Eggo waffles and corn syrup, that doesn't count as food. You can't say I gave you Eggo waffles and corn syrup, therefore I checked off that I fed you. Because you could just feed somebody literal like bird shit and be like, that's food. No, eggs, like omelet eggs, they're pretty good for you. All kinds of omega 3, 6, 9, 12s in them. You know what I mean? So I get worked up, but I only ever conversate on the internet when I'm high, and I do it instead of doing stuff. But this is the type of stuff that is doing stuff. I think. I don't know exactly, like, I'm not going to be able to go to court and have the court say we made a mistake. They're working together towards this goal. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know how to deal with it all. I don't actually have like a lot of, let's go, you know, it's almost 10 o'clock. I should be in town doing business shit, but instead of making this video, I really like this sweater when it's not on me. I like the idea of this sweater, but I don't think it works. I need bigger tits for this sweater to work, hey? So the question is if I'm wearing a woman's garment, does, like, I don't know what the question is. It's like, is that gay? Is that tranny of me? Like, I'm not saying that how people interrelate to express love for each other is wrong. What I am saying is isolating and alienating people is wrong. So if you're inclusive of the exclusive society, unless you're exclusive, in which case we'd be exclusive, that's wrong. Right? If you're saying, listen, man, you can't be encouraging kids to change their gender, because only girls can be moms and only boys can be dads. They grow at different ages too, by the way, right? Like, I don't know what a high school, it's to have the conversations while this cloud of doubt is over top of me is dangerous. But I've been a 16-year-old boy. I've been a 17-year-old boy. I know what that's like. I had no business pursuing girls. I had shit to do. I shouldn't have been out drinking. I shouldn't have been playing. There's some video games that are actually kind of good for you. There's video games that actually, like, develop skills, habits, and strategies for real life. Picking off your friends in the bushes with fucking assault rifles, like, those aren't good games. I mean, there's a whole lot of not good going on. And it's basically the only type of game available now. But anyway, I digress. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I don't know anything. I'm way overwhelmed. The the, the lies are ridiculous. Like, you can't be going into schools and telling kids to change their gender. That's pedophile ring shit. And I'm not gonna name any names because we should know who they are by now. Like, that should be not indirectly suggesting anybody's going into schools to convince kids to hate their fathers and change their genders. That's not. Why would I be banned from notifying people that kind of person is a real person? They're getting paid to go into schools to tell kids that it's okay to hate their dads and change their gender. That's not the same as love is love. That's not the same. Because love is love is love. If you love each other and also love me, then we're all loving, because I'm loving. I love that you're loving. It should be love. When you say I don't love you because you ask questions, well, that's annoying. I don't think that's true, you know? The thing is maybe if you're at a hospital birth, you don't know different. We had a private birth. It was at home. And like the blessing of children, like the not blessing, but the gift, the unlimitedness of what comes to kids, like, you don't need money to raise kids. The world costs money, and it's a fucking scam. Pay your insurance or get your car taken away. You don't live in a free country with the ability to travel if you need to buy your insurance or the cops are going to take your car away. That's literally what a protection racket is. That's a protection racket. When you say, pay me every fucking month or I'm taking your car off the road, it's for your safety. That's literally how the mafia works. Like, they didn't change the script. That's just what it is. It's the same fucking scam. You'd have a lot more money if you weren't paying the government all the fucking time. And for what? For a 98-year-old road full of potholes? And an assistant, like, and the doors are locked at 6. Go figure it out. Once it gets dark and cold, go figure it out. You're allowed to be indoors while it's light out. But once the night lights go off, there's no place for you. You got to go pay for that. You be by yourself, and we'll judge you if you have anybody over. This is fucked. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know if Bespin is getting founded the way that I was thinking it would, but I'm over fucking whelmed. Boys need to have purpose and meaning. And I could see how wanting to raise a family would be a good idea. Like, you're a kid, you're like, man, I want, you're younger, and you go, I'd like to raise a family. What they don't tell you in school is that you gotta figure out how to keep your dishes clean. Like, with love and enjoyment, like, and patience, and, like, I just love doing my dishes and doing my laundry, because it's not wife chores, it's life chores. Or so they tell you, because I'm pretty fucking sure I'm better at picking up giant rocks than she is. So if we needed to move some giant rocks around, I wouldn't be being like, get your own fucking giant rocks. Maybe I could. Maybe I could have a lovely wife who liked to pick up her own giant rocks. Nah, I'd rather have a wife that likes to keep the crud out of the corners of the carpet. I don't know how she does it. It's hard for me to do. There was a generation of the wives telling the dads what to do. And then that was that was like my parents. And now it's a new level of wives just doing whatever the fuck they want and fuck the dad. Not all the time, but there's a lot of guys are just hanging on. You know, it's a fucking Bronco, just like, all right, honey, whatever you say, as long as I get to see my kids. You know, it's a bit. It's not actually how it's supposed to work, right? Like, figure out how to put a roof over her head and then invite her in, and she doesn't want to come in because she's making more money and feeling more comfortable aggressing me. Right? She's got more community support. I don't know what she does. She actually said that I'm defaming her. There's in the paperwork that I'm defaming my wife and libel, I think. You know, some sort of an alienation. I got called the alienator. Haven't seen my kid in 8 months, being accused of parental alienation. That's like, it's not hinged, right? So when I parked the tiny house down in front of town hall across the street from the church, right by the main street, so people would see that I'm in town, other people who were like a couple of doors down got all, he's threatening me. I had nothing to do with them. I was just downtown near a church, near the highway. Just because I'm also looking for my daughter. I mean, if they self-identify as feeling threatened, maybe I'm going to jail for this comment right now. It's a miserable place. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't want to go back, but I can't stop. She needs to come back to her father. Because if you're not towing people's houses away or knocking them down, I've seen that. Like, people go by and they rip down, you know, okay, you shouldn't really have a kid in a tent. But how'd the guy get in the tent in the first place? Is it this $1,200, $2,500 a month in child support? Because it doesn't go to the child. Because if I got my kid something fucking epic, like there's epic shit around that I found for her to give her, because then she goes, this is from dad, and it's epic, and it's more my personality that he understands that nobody else does, and he's showing me how to use it, and I'm developing skills. That's, you know, supporting a child is actually resourcing both the parents. You support both sides, the chicken and the egg, whatever that saying goes. Because child support doesn't even go to the mom. Because I was giving her money. I was sending her emails and handing her cash, and it was being refused so that she could say I never got anything from him other than my bank account. The child support money goes to the government. The government takes the money, or else you lose your bank account, passport, driver's license. You can't go to work. So now you still owe the money, but now you can't go to work. And if you can't go to work, then you go to jail. So you're literally enslaved to the point of imprisonment. And the only thing you had to do was be considered the father. And then the system takes over from there. Well, shouldn't say it's this mom and that mom and this mom and that mom. It's not. Because there's a handbook, there's a playbook. You just walk into the door and it says, here's what you need to take when you're ready to take off from the dad. We went in as a couple, North Kootenay Lakes Community Services. We went in as a couple. Where I want to, let's do communication skills. How are we going to do that? And they got these feelings cards, and there were these green cards and these red cards. And like green was like happy, content, soothe, contemplative, I don't know, provided for, like the green cards, right? And then we had the red cards, lack of trust, concern, worry, unheard, scared, the red cards. And so we said, we're going to play a game. We're going to take an experience from the last week, and we're going to use these cards to talk about it. Okay, here we go. When was the worst part of your day? What was the worst thing that you had this week? What was the thing that was really challenging this week? Well, actually, we had a pretty good week. I remember we did this, and that was really lovely, and we connected eye to eye, and we ended up figuring out this problem as well. Sorry, no, I needed to know what the worst part of your week was. Can you tell me let's go back over and rehash the absolute trashiest part of your whole week. We're going to be using the red cards today. Well, I did say I'd be coming in here to do what you think is best for us, so I'll play this game this time. Next time we're going to use the green cards, yeah? No, we don't offer the green cards at this facility. If you wanted to, you could go to Nelson and get maybe. They might have some green cards for you there. There's no love coming from the community services organization that's ran by the Ministry of Public Safety. He's selling you booze. He's selling you lottery tickets. He's putting tits and violence in kids' movies. I think it's she, actually. It's Nina in BC. Nina is the public safety minister. Maybe she can call me. I'm sure if I called her, I'd get arrested. You kind of have what you need. What I was saying before was God kind of gives you what you need. You're kind of sorted. Like, I didn't die. I'm not very dehydrated. I'm not hungry. I'm feeling loss. I'm feeling lack. Because there's no kid here to play with. Because she was stolen systemically. And what I wanted to say was that these people who are doing their jobs are just doing their jobs. It's like bitching about the cashier at the credit union for accepting your mortgage payment. It's just doing your job. Hey, I had a tax bill and I had to pay it at the cashier at the credit union. I'm pissed at the cashier at the credit union. That's a misplaced frustration. That's a misplaced anger, right? I'm not angry at the people who performed the child abduction. They're just the names on the paperwork that proves the child abduction. That's not a personal attack vendetta. It's just like, hey, I read this thing where these people did this thing, and I wanted to bring it up to the most appropriate party, because that would have been the judge. He didn't give a shit. He knew what was going on. Bring it to the cops. They're in the same ministry, public safety. It's BC Transition Houses, liquor, movie ratings, gambling, cops, right? So you get drunk, watch a shitty movie, get into a fight, get arrested by the cops, get paid to do it all over again. The whole thing is a scam, and it's tough to build teams of community members when there's somebody talking shit. And I understand that it's a social virus and that it's just like a wave in the ocean. Wherever that red dye, that grossness is dripping into the lake, it's just kind of like floating around and you're just kind of hearing it and seeing it. I think there's people who are smart enough to know what the fuck's going on around here. And eventually, I'll be able to have my daughter back and start reading with her in the library and start looking at some of these books, because some of the books in the library are pretty lovely. There's a whole big book on Leonardo da Vinci, like all his designs and drawings and works. Like, that's a pretty good book. It's right near the front. You can take a look at it. I think it's lovely. And then there's like whole rows of like James Patterson or Robert whatever, like just novellas of thrill and anxiousness, and like it's just candy, right? It's just you go to I'll talk to you about the gas station with that bloody gaudy fucking orange and white sign with the green and red lettering. What the that's this, like, we had a nice town until that sign showed up. What happened to the Mohawk sign? Because I bet you that's worth $1 or $3. Hey, holy fuck, if I'm feeling impoverished this week, it's because that Mohawk sign's missing. I miss it. We put something else to cover up that gaudy highway sign. That's incredible. We can't have that. So then we go into the store, and all they got is candy. So these kids are like, I'm hungry. I haven't eaten because my dad's gone off to work. My mom's gone off to work. I got to eat. So I'll go to the convenience store because they've got convenient, sustenance. It's all fucking poison. Every single thing in there isn't a single ostrich egg available, and I'm fucking over it. Where the fuck is the ostrich eggs? And why are you teaching boys to pursue girls when they should be pursuing their best interests? Their fucking highest self, their strongest version of themselves, who's capable of doing things. And I don't know, I'm not trying to fight the government. There's no point in doing that. I'm trying to fight towards remembering a community that doesn't need government. I don't know if we need to actually kick the cops out of town. Like, they call themselves an outpost. It's like we're the wildlings, like on north of the wall, and they've got like a little outpost, and there's, you know, they got a huge area they got to cover. But it doesn't take long to call in the helicopters. These helicopters are so fast. They go right underneath power lines, like as a norm. We don't even realize the technology they have. I don't know if this video is going to go anywhere. I think there's going to be some things that you're going to want to like pull out and like, what did you mean by that, Drew? You know what? There's a whole lot to talk about. And if you point a finger at one thing or another, it's going to talk about you more than anything. Because I'm just here to have a good time. I actually can. I'm pretty good at having a good time. It's just tough to do when I'm under a cloud. I think I'm doing okay. I think I'm, you know, for the fact that there's a criminal child abduction business going on. Like, how do you have anyone ever say missing and murdered Indigenous women and children? How do you have the red handprint in the public schools? Public schools have a red handprint on a whole bunch of kids' faces up and down the halls. And my daughter, she's like 4 years old. She goes, why are there a bunch of kids with their hands on, the red faces on their hands? I was like, I don't know if I told her, because it's fucking, like, those are the kids that were taken from their dads, and they scream and yell for their dads, and no one listens. And I've got more names. There's more names. I don't want to be calling out more people, but it's a small community, and there are people who have spoken with Isolde, and she said, unsolicited, she just went up to the human adults that she trusted and said, I want to live with Dad. Can you help me live with Dad? And those names are in the paperwork. There's multiple people who have said, who've heard my daughter say to them, I want to live with Dad, please. And they're too scared to come forward, or they're too, what do you call it? Like, beholden? Like, if they're under threat, or if they speak up for this girl, then their lives get worse. It's a pretty big thing. Now that's the trouble, is if we learn to line up one at a time in class, right? You to go into the classroom, you have to go one at a time. And then by high school, that was fine. You could just walk in as you please. But in grade school, I'm pretty sure, tell me if I'm wrong, but we all had to line up. And that single file one at a time-ness, it might be how they're getting us. It might be how they're getting us. Like, you got to go to the DMV and privately one at a time, right? And some of these societies that are older than ours, they have like a Ubuntu, where they gather as a community and talk. So I think that might be what I'll have to do, is rent the Langham out and like have a community conversation or four, and I think we'll have different things to talk about each week. But I think it's going to be important, like, not to have like a whole bunch of people in the room and have one or two people like talking, or you know, like, it's usually like a one-way conversation, like someone's telling their story, and I think what we're going to want is a moderator, like someone that holds a position, holds the topic, right, and then allows space for everyone, and then allows for it to kind of knead into itself, and make sure that other people get to play with it as well. And I think that if we had a conversation that was community centric and based on positive results or positive opportunities, here's what I'd like to see, here's what we can do about it. Like, there's going to be like, we can't because, and then there's like, we can overcome that, and here's how, right? And there's lots to be done in terms of figuring out how to work together. And, you know, usually it just goes through the village or whatever. I'm not too sure. Did that damn can cosign get approved by the village? This is what I'm asking. If the village gets to say, and the district gets to say what goes in and on their town, then they must have approved that gaudy sign, right? Like hey, can we put up our fucking gross ass sign? Like, yeah, that's cool. Get it out of here. Let's bring it to Tim Hortons. Come on. I'm still talking about the gas station, by the way. We need gas, and the humans working there are lovely humans. They're just doing their best. But the sign's fucking disgusting. And I don't know if that's still like LGBT at that point, right? Like, it's not the humans that I'm upset about. It's the filth that's being sold. It's the poison that's not okay. Because if you want to feel safe around people of the same gender as you, it's like, I'm a girl and girls understand me better. Fair. We get along, you know, and I'm a boy and, you know, boys don't want to take my money. Okay, fair. So, like, if you want to hang out with people of your same gender, like, that's not on its own wrong. But when you're just hanging out with the girls, you can't, there's no more babies. You don't get more babies from just hanging out with the girls. You got to figure out a way to get along with the guys a little bit. And if you're just hanging out with the guys, I mean, it's cool. I mean, like, it's definitely more violent physically, but it's a lot emotionally safer. It's a lot more, like, mentally stable, right? Like, it's a lot safer to be in a group of violent men than it is to be in a group of, I don't know. I'm not saying anything. Hang out with your groups. This is fine. And hang out with the people that you like the most in those groups in as close a way as you feel like. And, you know, feel pleasure and feel soothed and feel connected. These are all important. I love you for feeling safe to do that for yourself. Because not love is love when you're separating and twisting. That's not what that is, right? Boys are going to have to figure out how to be brave enough to stand for, not, you don't go after them, you don't chase them, you gotta stand. And you gotta stand, and right? And that's how you become a man. That's how you become a father. And they took my kid, and it's not for her safety, it's for their safety. Because I went in, I said, hey, what are we gonna do? How can I fix this? What can we? No, we're not gonna. That's not gonna. And it has nothing to do with the facts. In fact, the facts are very, very, very not in the favor of the child abductors. The facts are not. I remember when I was parked across from downtown, and as I was going to tell you earlier, I was raking the sidewalk that hadn't been raked in years, and I was cleaning it up, and the cops come around, and I said, what are you doing? And they said, someone said that they saw you in the neighbor's yard. So I came around. Well, whoever called that in, there's a freedom of information. I'm going to find out who that is, and they're going on full blast because that's mischief. That's against the law. You can't call the cops on people for things that didn't happen. That's against the fucking law. Whatever, the laws only apply to some people. That's what we started the video on. Then later they come back around and they say, we heard that you stole the rake from the other neighbor. You're going out of your way to harass a guy and then saying that you're scared of him. Like, how high schoolish is that? How childish is that? How immature and irresponsible is that? What do you think's going to happen? You could have just came out and said, hey, what's going on? Why are you here? I wanted to hang out with my daughter, and I thought the safest way to do that would be in public with everybody around. I could just see my daughter. But you didn't even bring my daughter around for 3 weeks. Like, that's because of what? Exactly. Because you got away with it? It's child abduction. It's child abduction. 35 minutes. That's, it's $20. You gotta send me $20. Assaultsfather@gmail.com. I need $20. It's 30 minutes, $20. Come on.